Hello and welcome to this Thursday edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Theodore Henry. Coming up in today's show, we look at drought mitigation and how Jamaica has been adapting to the change in temperatures. Plus, see how we've been moving towards a cashless system. These and lots more coming up after the news. But first, an important message.
Crime and violence is infecting our youth. We must work together to rescue them from the gangs, engage them in productive activities, and safeguard Jamaica's future.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, April 20, 2023. Residents of communities in St. Catharines Southeast will soon have improved access to potable water, sewerage, and irrigation services. This follows the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, on Tuesday between the National Water Commission, NWC, and Cancara Development Limited, CDL. Under the agreement, Cancara will provide the infrastructure needed for the conveyance of residential and commercial sewage from agreed existing and proposed NWC customers to the existing CDL sewerage plant. Cancara will also provide bulk water from its well for distribution by the NWC to its customers. Minister with responsibility for water, Senator Matthew Samuda, says the MOU will address the water supply and sewerage needs of the beneficiary communities, as well as irrigation, water production, and distribution for agricultural use.
This arrangement includes the conversion of 9 NWC plants to lift stations, following the approved protocols and other important structures to go directly into the Cancara treatment facility, as well as the sale of bulk water from Cancara to customer.
Permanent Secretary Audrey Sewell says the project will be implemented in 3 phases, beginning with the Greater Bernard Lodge development area.
It is intended to create a vibrant and sustainable community that ought to address the challenges of affordable housing, transportation, and access to jobs and services.
The Ministry of Tourism will be embarking on a full regularization of river rafting using guidelines developed in Jamaica's Destination Assurance Policy. The measure was outlined by Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing. He was responding to questions regarding rafting on the Cabarita River in Westmoreland.
Unregulated rafting is something that we have to manage and to move swiftly to regularize by training the rafters properly and also to enable them to build appropriate safe rafts, because that's a big part of it. And so take them through a process, and that will be done for the Cabarita River. It is not a designated river yet for rafting, but we are looking at how to regularize it.
Minister Bartlett adds that the Destination Assurance Policy will clarify the process for legal rafting activities.
That destination policy is going to help to define the areas of activity, and the Tourism Development Company, TPDCO, is charged with the responsibility of being the monitors and the custodian of the integrity of that whole process.
Recently, the TPDCO put a stop to illegal rafting on the White River in St. Anne and is making efforts to regularize illegal operators. Jamaica's Destination Assurance Policy is a national strategic response to preserving the high quality of the island's tourism offerings. Labour Minister Carl Samuda has directed security companies to ensure that new employment contracts issued to security guards do not breach the labour standards. Speaking in the House of Representatives yesterday, the Labour Minister pointed out that all security guards were to be regarded as employees and not contract workers. This is based on a landmark ruling in September 2022 by the Supreme Court.
In relation to the new employment contracts, all security guards are workers and are therefore to be guaranteed vacation leave, sick leave, overtime, maternity leave, where applicable, and all minimum standards for decent work in Jamaica.
He warned security companies to abide by the labor standards.
I emphatically state that any agreement that is in breach of these labor standards should be brought before the ministry for immediate intervention, and there will be absolutely no compromise on that.
Minister Samuda pointed out that no concrete reports had been presented to the ministry where the rights of security guards had been violated. He said based on contracts he had seen, the vexed issue seems to be the lack of specific transitional arrangements. Mr. Samuda said that of the approximately 25,000 security guards employed in the country, only 88 have lodged formal complaints. These, he indicated, are being processed for amicable resolutions. Minister Samuda explained that if a security guard had been denied work-related benefits, that individual should visit one of the ministry's offices across the island. Meanwhile, a committee has been appointed to establish a joint industrial council for the regulation of the industrial security sector and protection of security guards. Minister of Labour Carl Samuda says the committee will be led by the president of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Helene Davis-White.
We will be holding town hall meetings, and I'm going to invite you to attend with us, and we discuss it with the workers, because we will all have one thing in common, and that is the well-being of the Jamaican worker.
The minister says he will personally be meeting with security guards and companies to discuss their concerns and assist the parties in resolving the matters affecting them. Mr. Samuda told the lower house that he empathized with the concerns of the security guards. And finally, the Jamaica-China Technical Cooperation Program, which was suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic, is to resume shortly. Making the announcement, Sports Minister Olivia Grange says a proposal is being prepared for submission to the Chinese embassy. The minister was speaking at the unveiling of the FIFA Women's World Cup trophy on Monday. She says a proposal is being put forward to have the training sites divided between Jamaica and China.
We're hoping that instead of taking the teams to China for 3 months, we can split it between Jamaica and China, and the Chinese folks will come to Jamaica to do the training as well.
The Jamaica-China Technical Cooperation Program was initiated in 2017 with the signing of an agreement between the countries. A total of 138 athletes, coaches, and managers from 7 disciplines traveled to China in the summer of 2018 for initial engagements. The disciplines represented were badminton, synchronized swimming, women's football, swimming, women's basketball, volleyball, and gymnastics. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Vehicle operators must always use safety devices. Helmets and seatbelts are there to make sure you arrive alive, protecting you against injuries and even death. Since the start of the year, far too many road users have died. Some of these could have been prevented if the victims wore helmets or seatbelts. The new Road Traffic Act will fine persons for not wearing their seatbelt or helmet. So, do yourself a favor. Wear your helmet, use your seatbelt, save money, and stay alive.
For the past 6 years, the government has not imposed any new taxes on Jamaican citizens. Watch now as we take a deeper look at how this might impact the economy.
Hi and welcome to OPM Connect. I'm Naomi Francis. Today we continue to look at how the budget for the 2023-2024 financial year will impact you. For the past 6 years, the government has announced no new taxes.
And I'm happy, Madam Speaker, that the conversation has moved from quarreling over taxation. Because, Madam Speaker, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, a decade ago, when previous budgets were being read, the presentation by the Minister of Finance and by the Prime Minister was that the cupboard was empty. The cupboard empty. There's nothing in the cupboard to argue over. So it is clear that progress has been made. There is something to argue over, to be shared.
17 years of tax measures, Madam Speaker. Not one of these papers have we introduced in 6 years, Madam Speaker. We went through a pandemic. We lost 15 years of revenues, or $75 billion. Unlike many governments in this region and around the world, we took our commitment to people seriously, and we managed the crisis and the recovery without introducing any new taxes, Madam Speaker.
So now then, what does this really mean to you, for your household, your community, your business, and the wider Jamaica?
A lot of people went underground and informal because of the tax burden. And what was happening in the 1990s, which was causing an issue, not just for people who are informal, but for people who are formal, is that we were having tax increases every year. So even some of the formal people were operating in an informal way because of the tax issue. With this issue of no new taxes, it allows businesses to plan better. It says to people, hey, I'm inviting you into the formal system, right? Because you don't have to worry now that every year a tax package is going to hit you. Since we have had the no new taxes coming on, the economy has actually been doing better, right? And a lot of people wouldn't have thought so before, right? But with the fiscal responsibility in terms of management that's happening, with the fact that there are no new taxes, the economy is actually growing. For the first time in a very long time, as far as I can remember, we're close to full employment, you know? So that is the benefit of it. So it's a new way of thinking. I think that has worked. And I think that with the advent of no new taxes being put on, with the financial system being worked on, with more laws coming into place, that we're going to see a reduction of people in the informal economy.
And so what do you think about no new taxes?
No new tax, that's very good. That too is very good, you know? Because most of the tax that them collect, the people them, it's like a tax them I work for. You know, so no new tax collecting is very good. It's a very good move.
The way the economic situation is right now, it's probably a good move. It's a good move for now, yes.
Thanks for your views, and thanks, Dennis Chung. And that's it for OPM Connect this week. For more information on what the government is doing to impact your life, remember to follow the OPM and the Prime Minister on all socials at Andrew Holness JM and on YouTube at Andrew Michael Holness /JM. And look out for OPM Connect on your favorite station and online. Catch you next week and stay safe.
We remain resilient in our fight against known and unknown threats to our country. We are never daunted.
We are committed to continuously deliver effective and efficient service when we save lives and protect property.
And we continue to reassure with courtesy, integrity, and respect for the rights of all.
We are building
forward
together.
As is the norm for earlier months of the year, the start of 2023 ushered in a dry period for the country. Although this is a norm based on our climate, it can become alarming if there are no plans in place. Thankfully, there are.
Poor precipitation, high temperatures, low soil moisture and high evaporation rates all contribute to an insufficient supply of water for agricultural activities, a dry spell.
It speaks to the degree of dryness in comparison to normal or average amounts of rainfall, and the duration of that dry period.
We have always had dry periods in our climate, and it's Jamaica's normal and historical experience. However, when these are prolonged, we see drought.
At the ministry, we are not just concerned with the meteorological drought in terms of rainfall patterns, but we are also primarily concerned as to whether it will become in an agricultural drought.
Drought is used to describe environmental factors that cause unfavorable plant reactions and directly affect animal and crop output. This is a major concern for the agriculture sector, which accounts for 7.3% of Jamaica's gross domestic product and directly impacts the livelihood of approximately 250,000 registered farmers and their families, of which roughly 32% are women.
Taking these variables into consideration, along with the significant production losses the sector sustained to drought over the years, we are mindful of the urgency in mitigating fallout and providing support towards alleviating the negative effects of this dry spell in a sector that plays such a critical role in terms of poverty alleviation, food security, and livelihoods. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries is ramping up the implementation of our drought mitigation program. Note that we have been proactive in terms of a drought mitigation team and committee that is consistently assessing and evaluating and designing ways to provide support to our farmers. That is why this ministry has not just short-term but long-term investments. Matter of fact, the largest capital investment in irrigation. That means understanding that we must move away from rainfall dependency. So those large capital investments in building out the irrigation network in Essex Valley and Spad and Pedro Plains to come are critical in terms of us being able to maintain the consistency in production for Jamaica.
This is a significant component of the drought mitigation strategy.
Additionally, we will be collecting data to support a baseline assessment study in support of strategy alignment. If we are going to build a sustainable agricultural sector and strengthen the framework of agriculture and fisheries in Jamaica, we must be able to do more with less. We must be able to produce more efficiently. We must produce more and reduce what we waste or lose. That means that we have as a critical aspect of going forward, training our farmers and training all in this sector on water efficiency, which is a base of baseline importance, fundamental to how we move forward.
And while that is underway,
rather than NIC and other agencies, AIC and others, we continue to provide trucking of water to several drought-affected areas and farming communities, and this is provided to farmers free of cost, and we intend to increase the reach by 100%. We at the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries will continue our efforts to ensure that our nation continues on a path of recovery and will keep food security as top priority for the people of Jamaica as we continue to grow smart and to eat smart. One love.
The world has been moving towards a cashless system, and Jamaica has been following suit. Find out more next.
I was in London. I went out to have dinner and I wanted to pay. I took the cash out, shiny cash, to pay. and they said to me the most polite King's English, "I'm sorry, we do not accept cash." Later that evening, after my work was done, I went to see the Bob Marley musical. I went to buy a souvenir after the show. Very excited, wanted to carry something I could take home. And how much for it? Oh, £5. I can afford that. Take out my cash to pay. I am sorry, we do not accept cash. Cash is just on its way out.
Adapting to cashless environments is quickly becoming the norm for personal and business transactions the world over, and Jamaica is no exception. There is a pressing need to explore innovative technologies to respond to the changes and ensure equitable access, and Jamaica found its solution: JAMDEX, Jamaica's central bank digital currency, the world's first legal tender online money. JAMDEX provides a safe, efficient, and convenient way to pay for goods and services digitally.
We are working to put in place the enabling framework to make digital payments and digital transactions a reality. Why? Because the digital economy is the future. Because it is more productive. What does more productive mean? It means we can do more things with the same amount of time. Rather than stand up in a long line to go and get your money or deposit your money, you just access it on your phone or through some other channel. So because of the productivity gains of digital, it becomes less costly. The digital space also allows for us to include more people in the economy. There was a time when we thought of this transition as just Amazon buy and sell. But the digital revolution is much more than that. The digital revolution 20 years later, 25 years later, has become a space, a separate space that we inhabit.
JAMDEX, which is the digital version of the country's currency, has been operating through the Link app, which is currently the sole approved wallet provider for JAMDEX and is made available through the National Commercial Bank, NCB. Anyone with Link will be able to do transactions using JAMDEX with another Link wallet holder.
JAMDEX allows 24/7 movement between the wallets. So if you have a Link wallet or you have a wallet at another financial institutions, through JAMDEX you can move value from Link to the others.
So, how secure is this app?
JAMDEX is a central bank digital currency. The benefit of it is that it is fiat, it is backed by the government, it has all the same protections, all the same controls that the minister will be putting in place to manage our currency. But as far as using, the latest, technological advances to secure, encrypt your data, all of that is present in Link. Another thing we take very seriously is managing your identity. So we put in all the same techniques there as well. We're using artificial intelligence to match your face against the document. We are checking your document against the government databases where available to make sure that the person who is signing up is the person who really should be using the wallet.
Jamaica's digital wallet solution has launched their newest feature, the ABM Cash In, Cash Out system. This feature will enable users to top up and withdraw from their Link wallets with NCB's ABM network island-wide. It is contactless, free, and will bring convenience to its users.
There are a lot of transactions that take place today, payments that are cash-based, which is suboptimal. And it's cash-based just because that is today the easiest way to get it done. And I think of things like some of the work programs, right, where people work at Christmas time and they make the place look good, and the government, through distribution mechanisms, all of those thousands and thousands of persons are paid cash. The Prime Minister stated as a goal that eventually we want that to be paid through CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency.
And just like that, it's easier to do business in Jamaica or Island Home, the place of choice, period.
In terms of our preparedness, we need to understand that we have earthquakes almost every day. They're always happening here in Jamaica, and there is nowhere on the island that you can go to escape an earthquake. So what persons need to bear in mind is that earthquakes can happen at any time. There is no season for earthquakes. It has nothing to do with the weather. It has nothing to do with the heat. It can just happen like that. Port Royal's earthquake was in July. The 1907 Kingston earthquake was in January. So there is no specific time of year.
There are innate capabilities that we train our healthcare workers and the team members that constitute the health system to be able to provide care. So part of what we do is to engage with the team members through regular and systematic training to ensure a constant level of awareness of the likelihood and threat that may be faced, the required skill sets to manage in what would be a very complex and confusing situation, the necessity to ensure that we can communicate at different levels and with different team members. And so we do regular training on a routine basis to manage mass casualty situations, which can easily overwhelm even our regular capabilities. And if necessary, we have to set up our medical care facilities outside of what would have been our normal healthcare facilities.
One of the key assets that we have is our disaster assistance response teams, what we call Drought teams, that are prioritizing 3 priorities. Priority 1 being those that are ready and for immediate notice to move to assist in any disaster situation. That element is constituted by a number of different specialty areas: engineers, medicals, medical personnel, logisticians, etc. They are so equipped that they can be moved to anywhere in the island and be self-sufficient for a period of time in assisting ODPEM or the government of Jamaica in general with any disaster.
We would be required to ensure that the area or areas affected are properly cordoned and secured. We'd have to ensure that routes leading to and from our major hospitals are clear, or to provide information as to the clearest and safest routes to and from those hospitals, and ensure that they are maintained in a safe manner for the emergency units to respond. Assist the search and rescue in respect to ensuring that persons leave the building safely and go to a safe area away from the building. Ensure that those who would want to seize the opportunity to commit crimes, such as looting, don't get that opportunity.
This is all the time we have for today, but be sure to join us again tomorrow when we bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app. That's both Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.